Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 445, recorded on September 21st, 2023. On tonight's episode, we talk about the Tokyo Game Show 2023 updates, the latest on Unity, what is up with Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch, and your questions. Hey, I know what to do.
And hello, everybody. This is Tim, and this is Jesse. And Jesse, that was the perfect way to transition yourself to start the show. That was just wonderful. Thank you. So, how are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. I took some confusion at work going on. It started near the end of the day. We talked about it on the pre-show, so I won't get into it here. But it'll be interesting to see what happens because I'll be around next week, but the first week of October, I'm out of country. My boss, it'll be on the road on a road trip, and one of the other persons in our team is also out of country for 3 weeks. He was out this week, next week, and that first week October, and then one of our other devs, full-time devs, was also out that first week October. So out of 5 of us, there was going to be one dev there all week. So,
and you're going to run the show from your phone.
I wish him luck. No.
So yeah, if anybody you're looking forward to counting this down in a few weeks, you can see how well or how not well the Nintendo dads do when this wizard is not around. So. All right. Well, and we're
worst case scenario, you take that week off, right?
Right. We'll let Justin do a solo show or something. I don't know. We'll see. Or he'll do another Canadian show. Who knows? But yeah, that for me it was the same thing. We were just talking about work stuff, like you said in the beginning. So, but always good to come here and talk games with you guys, and just you and me, Jesse. So let's get started with the news.
Let's try that again.
You should get one of those record scratch noises so that if you need to stop it or something, you just go.
Yeah, but the problem is, it could happen. But at that time, I thought I double clicked my thing to put up the low volume up to 0 decibels.
Yeah.
And it missed a click. So when I pushed news, it was playing it at minus 50 dB until I clicked it again, and then it popped up.
Yep. You would never know. You've been doing this for over 9 years now. So
yeah.
Always new things.
Yeah, this virtual soundboard still is problematic at times.
Right. All right. Well, everybody knows the news is the news, and its ad-free version of this podcast is brought to you by the patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Huge thanks to our Patreons over there for being able to do this for us and for you, for all of our listeners to be able to listen to this ad-free. And thanks to everyone for helping us create more great Nintendo Dads content and for making our community a better place. And as you know, Manscaped is also one of our sponsors, so we'll be talking about them after the news. But like we said, let's get jumping right into the news here. And first part of our news today is the Tokyo Game Show 2023. We tried to grab as much of the Nintendo games announced throughout it, so we apologize if we missed anything. And if we did, just don't yell at us, just let us know, and we can make sure to try to update it next episode.
I know nothing of what happened at TGS, so I'll be learning along with the listeners, I guess.
So what I learned by catching up on a lot of news and recaps and summaries, and I even watched the Xbox thing that they had. The main thing, I'm focusing on the Nintendo games that were announced. For example, the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy. I think we already knew about this, but I don't know if we knew a date yet.
We did not have a date until this morning.
So
but we did know the game was coming.
Yes. So January 25th, 2024 is when the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy is coming. We know Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy is coming September 26th, but the Apollo Justice one is coming January 25th. And
I thought that already came out. The first trilogy still isn't out yet? I thought it did.
Oh, maybe it was. I don't know. I saw, maybe I missed the year. Maybe it came out last year, 2022.
I don't know. I can find out.
Fact check. All right. So what's included in the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy? That is the HD versions of Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Dual Destinies, and Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. Includes DLC, costumes, and special episodes, music player with chibi characters performing the music, and a huge art library.
Well, so, okay, you're going to like this. The first trilogy came out 4 years ago.
September 26th, 4 years ago?
No, April 9th, but 2019. But it is on sale for 66% off, so you can buy it for $10 instead of $30 until the 30th.
I was reading the article that told me about the Apollo one, and it said that the Phoenix one is coming out the 26th. That's so weird. Maybe it's coming out on other systems.
That's a possibility.
On the 26th, and it's already been out on the Switch or something. So, all right. Thanks for looking into that and fact checking me on that. So, all right. So again, Apollo Justice comes out January 25th, 2024, the Ace Attorney trilogy. Next up, we got Fairy Afterlight. This one we saw, I think, at the end of last year in an indie direct. And or we saw it this summer over many of the showcases we had. But it comes out September 28th, 2023. It is a Metroidvania game, and you play as two characters wielding the power to control enemies and environments against the backdrop of Indonesian folklore-inspired art. So if you are interested in checking that one out, especially because it's Metroidvania, again, the title is Fairy Afterlight. That one looked really cool. The art style looked really cool to me, so I thought that was. Yeah. I'm hoping we get a code for it.
Mike Your Dreamer's got an explanation about the Ace Attorney thing.
Oh, okay.
Game Pass next week.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. Game Pass, September 26th. Got it. All right. All right. Next game that I saw for the Switch coming in Q4 2023 is Garland My Story. It's a Chinese indie game that blends different mechanics such as roguelike gameplay, combat, management, and farming. Explore and face a wide range of enemies, gather materials and resources to strengthen your character, defeat enemies to obtain equipment, craft, farm, and interact with townspeople, and townspeople will provide additional resources or join your party. I thought that sounded pretty interesting, like it was almost like a combination of Monster Hunter and Stardew Valley or something. So
yeah,
I thought that sounded pretty cool. Again, that was Garland My Story. Next up, we got Fantasy Life I, the Girl Who Steals Time, slated for 2023. Life sim / RPG, and it introduced today, I think it was during Tokyo Game Show, the classes they call lives. And the more lives learned, the more you experience, your character experiences. And players can become like an angler, cook, paladin, woodcutter. Those were some of the examples they gave for the lives.
I'm kind of on the fence of this. I tried the original game on DS or 3DS. I forget which one it was. And I think it was 3DS, but didn't really get into it much. But it was still, I may want to give this one another try.
Okay.
This was one of my Fantasy Critic games, so I'm hoping it comes out this year.
And you're hoping it does well too.
And
right?
it does well. Yeah. No 62s or anything like that, please.
Yeah, nothing below 70. You don't need that. All right. Althea, The Wrath of Apheri. Jeez, oh Pete. My tongue is getting tied trying to read it.
That's a lot of vowels.
Announced during Xbox's showcase, but also coming to Switch. It is a fantasy adventure inspired by Studio Ghibli and Studio Chizu, as well as The Legend of Zelda. So I would highly recommend checking that out if you haven't seen the video for that. It's again Althea, the Wrath of Fury. And it looked pretty impressive, especially since I'm a big Studio Ghibli fan. So, and of course, Legend of Zelda. So it looked pretty cool. There wasn't much more that I could get down for exactly what that gameplay would do, but it did look like it almost looked like you worked with either, if you're a single player, you controlled two players, or potentially a co-op game where you can have two players playing the game. So, but the art style did look pretty cool. So keep an eye out on that one. Althea, the Wrath of Fury. Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes, release date announced along with new gameplay, April 23rd, 2024. So I think we did see something about Eiyuden Chronicles before.
Yeah, that was in the Nintendo Direct last week.
That's right.
And we had the date. I already had that date in my notes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
So
maybe I got it from the summaries of the new summary, so I just kind of mixed it in.
Yep.
All right. And then the last one is, I want to say, Zon Yan Sword, Mists Beyond the Mountains. This is the third installment to a highly successful Chinese RPG originally released back in 1999 and is now remastered. It offers free exploration of its vast world, epic fights based on the active time battle system, similar to other classic RPGs such as Final Fantasy VII or Chrono Trigger.
AKA stolen from.
And a unique crafting system where players gather ingredients to craft new gear, but they can also use an item called the Spirit Fusion Pot to capture enemies in battles, which in turn can be used in special altars to craft not only items, but monsters too. Using Eastern or Western altars brings different results to the final item. So I thought that sounded interesting, so I put that down as well, especially since a lot of people have been getting into the classic RPGs, and maybe this one was only in China.
Depending on how the gameplay looks, I might look into this one.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. So, well, those are the things that I was able to find that was coming to the Switch. There might be more news to come because there's 2 days of industry for TGS, and then 2 days of public, so a total of 4 days. So there might be more news to come. So keep an eye out if anything huge drops for the Switch.
Basically, TGS has started, right? It'll go throughout the weekend.
Yes. Yep. Between now and Sunday. All right. Anything else there, Jesse?
Nope.
All right.
I've got nothing else.
All right. Let's talk about some Unity stuff, Jesse. What do you think? What's going on here?
Oh, as I predicted last week, Unity is starting to backpedal, but it's, a lot of people don't think it's enough. Unity sent out this tweet on Sunday evening. We have heard you. We apologize for the confusion and angst the runtime fee policy we announced on Tuesday caused. We are listening, talking to our team members, community, customers, partners, and we'll be making changes to the policy. We will share an update in a couple of days. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback. And as far as this time, I don't think they've shared anything else.
Okay.
So, and I'm kind of offended by their term that makes the people complaining sound like 13-year-old girls.
Angst.
Yes.
Teenage angst.
Yeah. So that's kind of telling right there of what they really think of the customers.
I think there's going to be the 1 or 2 people resigning, possibly. Because I think either it's going to be people who disagree with this in the first place and they're resigning, because they don't want to work at Unity anymore, or it's going to be the people who made this policy and pushed it and decided, and then they resigned because it didn't work out or something. But there's going to be people
Yeah.
resigning. There's going to
Yeah.
be a shakeout from
I
this.
don't know what's going to happen, but I think a lot of devs are not going to start new projects in Unity. I think, a lot of devs are looking at, an Unreal, and even though they may not have the skills yet, they're going to have to learn that from the ground up.
Yeah.
But
Going to slow some things down for sure.
Yeah. So
Did you see the post by the developer? I think it was the Terraria developer who doesn't use Unity, but they are supporting other open source
oh yeah,
development kits.
I forget which projects were mentioned. There was two projects.
Yeah.
One I think is like really close to Unity like. They said they're going to donate $100,000 into each of their projects, plus a subscription of $1,000 a month for the foreseeable future.
Right.
So cool
Yes.
on them for supporting alternatives to Unity.
Yeah, I wish I can remember what that company was. Terraria developer Relogic donates 100,000 each to Unity rivals Code Godot and FNA, calling Unity's proposed policy changes a destruction of trust. So, yep, there it is.
Cool.
All right. Yep. I like how the communities have come together. Obviously, the development community joined together and just said there's something wrong here. So and we'll see how Unity responds. And yes, there's trust is broken. They're going to have to rebuild that. They're going to lose some revenue probably from this. That's going to hurt them for a few years down the road for sure.
Oh, and in our Discord, there was, the running gag of, people following the project Golden Girls Does Manhattan or something like that. They tweeted out earlier this week saying, I kind of wish I didn't start this on Unity 6 years ago.
Right. Yeah, there's obviously there's going to be a lot of companies that are stuck with it. They have to use it, but hopefully because of the backlash from other developers who do have the ability to step away from it, and backing them up, they'll be okay. So we'll see what happens next week. This time, hopefully, we'll have some better news.
Hope so.
All right, couple other game releases coming up here, or
speaking of unhappy
updates,
news,
or updates to games that are not releasing.
Of course, I didn't even know this game was a thing, so I'm nothing
Evil
for
Dead
me
the
to
game.
miss.
Evil Dead the game. You didn't know this was a thing?
I didn't know that was a thing.
So I'd forgotten about it, that it was originally planned for the Switch, but it was canceled. Also, the developers ended new content development and originally launched on other consoles and PC back in 2022. And also they did a Game of the Year edition launch in earlier this year in 2023. So, which I found interesting. It's like, did they just do Game of the Year edition on their own? Did they actually get Game of the Year from somewhere and it just not selling? Maybe it's just industry or critically they got Game of the Year, but not selling well still.
Or it just means here's a version with all the DLC included.
Yeah.
And it's called it Gotti.
Right. So yeah, if you were looking forward to Evil Dead the game for the Switch, unfortunately it won't be coming there. And they stopped development of other content for the game. Probably because of, going up against not Dying Light. What's the other game? The other scary games. There's Friday the 13th. I think they were stopping too. There was I can't think of it, but it's one that my kids were playing too. Dead by Daylight. That's what it was. Dead by Daylight. Bluey, the video game's coming out November 17th. It's an interactive sandbox adventure with mini games and a 4-part storyline. And
Yeah.
all I care about is the grannies. That's all I want in there. So
That's also an unfortunate day to launch a game.
November 17th.
Yeah.
While Big Brother is playing Mario Wonder, they're going to be playing
Or
the little
Mario RPG.
yes. Oh yes, okay, Mario RPG. Well, there's little kids aren't going to be able to handle Mario RPG, so they'll get to play Bluey.
Right. Oh, Bruce reminded me of something in the chat about the Unity thing. If we can backtrack a bit.
Sure.
And I hope that he gets investigated for, now can't think of the term. But basically he sold before the news broke on last Tuesday, he sold a number of shares of the stock that he owns for his own company.
Mm.
So yeah, insider trading. That's the term. That's the term you don't want to do because
Insider trading. Yes.
It's illegal. Just ask the Dragon Quest guy. He got busted twice.
Oh my goodness. I did not know that. Interesting. Yep. All right.
Yep. Insider trading is bad. We might have found a title.
Insider trading is bad.
Yeah.
All right. Any other news that we might not have captured, or any hot news that you might have saw that we don't have in our notes?
No, it was a pretty relatively quiet news week, relatively speaking. Because last week we had all the announcements.
Right. All of it. It's too quiet. It's too quiet.
That just means they're just going to news drop everything the week I'm out of town.
All right. Do you think they're going to? Do you still think there's a chance of an announcement for a new Switch, or not until 2024?
I don't think we're going to hear anything until early next year. They want to sell as many units as they can, and with the holiday bundles and whatnot. And as soon as they say successor is imminent publicly, Switch sales are going to tank.
Right. Yep.
Because people are going to wait.
Yeah, for those that aren't in the know, they'll wait once they hear the news. Plus, it's not the same as what we were dealing with with the Wii U time. So obviously there was, they weren't going to make any sales. So that's why, they could announce it in October of 2016.
Right. Which there'll be a question similar to that along those lines later on.
Yes, there is. Great segue. For now, let's break into our ad break. Fresh fall is upon us, and you need to be in the festive spirit. Light a candle, get some pumpkin spice, and make sure your balls look nice with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. Nature may clear the leaves of their trees, but you'll need Manscaped help to get you ready for that sweater weather. Get your pants, puppies, prepared for cuffing season with a trim as refreshing as a fall breeze by going to manscaped.com and using NINDADS for 20% off plus free shipping. It's time for nice flannels and cozy socks, but we can't forget to trim our balls. By now you've heard of them, but it's time to join the 9 million men worldwide using Manscaped and get the kit that covers it all, the Performance Package 4.0. It starts with the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology that reduces nicks and cuts to make raking the leaves a lot less painful. Plus, the lawnmower is a technical masterpiece. It has 7,000 RPM motor, multifunction on-off switch that can engage a travel lock, and built-in 4000K LED spotlight to help you see parts of your body you haven't looked at in years. And believe me, that light does come in handy. Once you've cleared the driveway, the Performance Package comes in hot with products to cool you down. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner, one to prevent stink and one to clear it up with a soothing aloe vera formula. Move over pumpkin spice. Fresh balls are the smell of the season. The Performance Package 4.0 caps it off with two free gifts: the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. That's one to hold your Manscaped goodies and one to hold your man goodies. So, and don't forget for that package as well, it makes for a good gift. So don't forget, even though it's September, you can start planning for Christmas. All right, bring in the fall right and get 20% off and free shipping with the code NINDADS at manscaped.com. Again, that's NINDADS for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. All right, we got a few things to discuss here, Jesse.
I see.
Let's have some fun. All right, so the first question we've got is, you've had some time away from the last Direct. Where do you stand with the next 6 to 9 months on the Switch games?
I think the biggest complaint about the Direct is there was very little new. Everything is, things we've heard of, or remakes or remasters. But of course, our reply to that was it's end of life, end of cycle. The energy into new stuff is going to go into its successor. We know that we've been around long enough to witness multiple generations, so
Right.
This is not news to us. Well, it might be news to people who are just now getting started into gaming. So
Right.
It's where things are kind of exactly where I thought they'd be, just based on what I'm used to.
Right. Yeah, and it kind of gives, if there's no games that anybody is looking forward to, like a lot of people probably looking forward to Wonder, but there are people who aren't.
Before you answer that, I have this.
What's wrong with you?
Exactly. So, but now's your chance to clear that backlog to get ready for the next new stuff that comes out, or to catch up on that backlog of other games if you've got another system, if you're fortunate enough to have another system and play those games. So now's your chance. In fact, I think I've seen a few people on our Discord community say, hey, that Direct wasn't for me, but I'm happy because now I can concentrate on the games I still have to get to in my backlog. So, but yeah, I think there's still plenty to love for the Switch to come, especially if we are to get a new Switch 2 next year, or Switch successor. But again, it gives us more time to concentrate on those games that are maybe sitting in that backlog.
Okay.
So I'm excited.
Well, here, breaking news. Too bad we didn't notice it while we were still in the news segment. But
okay,
because Nintendo tweeted
stop the presses.
Nintendo tweeted at 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. So I blame them.
Oh, that person's an hour late.
Call in red, yellow, and green Kirby to help you solve puzzles and take out baddies in Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, coming to Nintendo Switch for Switch NSO Plus expansion pack members on September 29th. A Game Boy Advance game.
Nice.
I have never played this game. Not sure I will, but it's a game I've never played.
Very cool. Very cool. Is there any game that you're hoping they bring out on NSO that hasn't come yet? I know we've probably been asked this before.
Besides Mother 3?
Yeah.
I know the GBA had a lot of games, but it was also... I didn't own a GBA until after the DS launched. So It was kind of a generation I missed out on. So I kind of don't know, or I don't have nostalgia for many things in that generation.
Yeah. Drill Dozer is one that I would love to have from the Game Boy Advance. I like that game.
WarioWare Twisted, I think, is like the one game I can think of.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That would be great, too, for the Switch, I think. Or maybe, yeah, especially maybe it'll come out. Maybe they'll bring that out around the time when the new Wario game comes out.
Maybe.
But any of the pinball games would be cool, too.
Yeah, I remember playing the original Pokemon ones, but I didn't play like the Gen 3 version. I didn't play Metroid Pinball.
Oh, I would love if Metroid Pinball came there, and even like, especially if they could put it in Tate mode, that would be really awesome. I would, or maybe
Yep.
even if it's Metroid Pinball 2, it's Metroid Prime Pinball, I think. Metroid Prime Pinball 2. That would be so awesome.
That's a mouthful.
Right? All right. Next question is, when it appears developers are lazy, MK1 on the Switch, for example. So let's talk about that.
Well, okay, yeah, I wouldn't say developers are lazy. I
Well,
would
that's what I'm saying. It
say
appears. It appears. That's why I
right,
put that word appears.
right. Is this? I think this is the people who did the port are not NetherRealm Studios. They outsourced it to another company. I think this is definitely this. First of all, this isn't because the Switch hardware is weak. Stop that. There,
Yes.
you've seen other amazing games do amazing things on the same hardware. We've seen Tears of the Kingdom. We've seen Witcher 3. Stop that. Uh, what I think this is they just ran out of time. They should have delayed the Switch port. While we don't like it when they delay Switch ports, it's kind of an industry standard at this point, and there's a reason behind why it's an industry standard.
Yeah.
People would have understood the Switch version isn't up to snuff yet. Give us 2 months.
Right.
People get it. People will understand that. People will complain, yeah, but people will get it. I think that you get far better press for delaying a game an extra 2 months than putting out what you did.
What if, I don't know if any of that's actually done this, like admitting right out the gate, like, okay, we released it. We know it's not up to our quality standards, but we wanted to release it. So we're working on a patch right away, a graphical patch or whatever you want to call it. Do you think that would work at all if they were transparent or, upfront about it, like out the gate? Or is it still better just to say if it's not up to snuff, just hold it?
I think just holding it would have been better. Beer survey that goes, but $70, really? Why? If this is like a 40 gig game and they put everything on cart, I would say, yeah, charge the $70. People know that the bigger games that you don't have to download 30 gigs of it for require more stuff in the cart, and it's more expensive for the publisher, and that would be passed down to the customer. That all makes sense. That's kind of normal business. It's just that we've never really seen anyone go with that 64 gig cart before. So yeah, the first time someone does, it'll be, or maybe it has and I don't know about it. It might be a sticker, and they go for 70. I would fully understand why they go for 70.
Right. Yeah. It's and it's kind of hard to justify 70, even though they have to. I mean, all games are going to be the same price across the board, but it's hard to justify it when it looks the way it does on the other systems.
But yeah, I
agree. Got to remember,
we see the game on PlayStation 5. Yeah, we see this game on PlayStation 5, and we see the same game on Switch. They should not cost the same.
Right.
At least in the way they released it. That shouldn't.
The way it was, yeah.
Yeah, I agree about the 70. But yeah, I wouldn't say they're lazy. The developers, I'm not a game developer, but I'm a business app developer, so I kind of know some of what's going on.
Right.
And what they did still takes a lot of effort.
Yes.
But the Switch does need things tweaked. It needs some models with less polygons, but not so much. It looks really weird, but enough that you can still tell what the character is.
I've complained about saying like EA Sports being lazy when it comes to like their EA Sports games coming to the Switch, or lack of them coming to the Switch.
Yeah. Releasing the same game Legacy Edition for 4 years in a row. That is lazy.
Right.
That is a lazy decision by the publisher.
Yeah, and it's like there's certain things that could seem like that could be done, even though we're not in the business or maybe not know as much from that standpoint. It's still perceived to be lazy, and I think that's where the MK1 game is perceived to be lazy, because it looked like it wasn't ported correctly, or they just wanted to get it out, like you said, on time and not take the time to not match graphically. That's going to be impossible, but at least make it good. But
Yeah.
one of the things I mentioned,
what they should be matching is the playability.
the fun factor.
If you jump, they should jump similarly
Yes.
high, similarly long for the same duration, things like that.
Yeah. That's the parts. It's like, okay, use the strengths of the system. It's portable. So what can you do about it? With obviously you're not going to go for graphics, but you got to make it fun. You got to make it responsive and all those things. And that's what it sounds like it's missing in a lot of cases. So, and that's where it's disappointing.
Right.
I'm still kind of curious. I kind of want to buy it just to see how is it. It's really not fun. Is the graphics so bad it takes away from the fun?
No, well, here I just thought of some nightmare fuel here. So the rumors of the successor, uses an AI technology that can upscale a 720p image to a 1440p or a 1080p image to a 4K image. Now, if your models are still grotesque at 720p, what will they look like upscaled? Your models still need to be solid.
Yes. That's the other thing too, is I was trying to figure out is like at this point, we've been in the Switch's life cycle for 7 years, right? Almost 7 years. And you would think at this point we would have best practices in place that either have been shared or whatever, because I know it's all different development companies and all that kind of stuff, and they all learn differently. But at least 7 years into it, you would know how to do responsive coding or something like that, to where you could have it developed to work on any system. Just depends on, I know there's more to it. Again, I'm not a developer. It just, my gut says there's got, at this point, I feel like there should be a baseline that should already have been learned by this point.
I did look to see what engine was used, and apparently Unreal 4 was used, which, makes sense since they're keeping it on the Switch versus going to Unreal 5, which, would have made it look better for on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, but
right.
As far as I know, currently not compatible with Switch. That would be a Switch successor. So
right.
Them using Unreal 4 might have been actually more of a detriment to the higher end systems versus
sense.
if they put it in Unreal 5.
I wonder if they'll just do like an update to later on down the line or something where
but you still can't take a game Unreal 4 designed for a PlayStation 5 and then just flip the Nintendo Switch button and expect the thing to work. It's going to need some tuning.
Yes, it's got to be. But that's what I mean, is like it's been out there for 7 years, I would think.
Yeah. Well, I think part of the problem is we're just now this year getting games that are not releasing on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Because due to the pandemic, the time of cross-platform releases was much longer than either company really wanted. But they had to, due to just they still needed to sell the games for hardware that couldn't sell or that couldn't be made to sell. I mean, I should say.
Yeah.
They sold. They couldn't keep it on the shelves. They sold it instantly. They just couldn't manufacture enough until like this year.
So one of the things I was thinking of too, and I think Marty also mentioned it before, was why not? So putting those two things together, why not just say, okay, the newer consoles get the better game. They get the new MK1. Switch doesn't get it. But they give us like a remastered originals one trilogy or something like that.
Yeah, I think people would be okay with that
on the Switch. Yeah,
yeah,
because like cater to the Switch and the audience. Like we apparently love our ports and remasters and all that kind of stuff. For older games.
And we're talking about games released in arcades in 91, 93, and
Yeah,
96, maybe. I don't know for
right,
the third. But yeah, these are, the first game's over 30 years old. The second game's 30 years old now,
right.
I think. But yeah,
Yeah, to like cater to the
I'm
audience.
sure the Switch can emulate them just fine.
Like give PS5 and Xbox Series their game, their MK1 awesome looking game, and then give
Yeah.
the Switch the trilogy.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat 2 was June of 93. So 30 years.
Nice. All right. The last question, Jesse. What's your dream Nintendo console after this one?
Oh,
What's your dream console?
I know back in the VG Tribune days, we talked about what we wanted in like a future Nintendo system, and I described what the Switch was. I wish I could find that episode so I could have that clip. I looked for it. I did no, I couldn't find it in any show notes. So, and I'm not going to listen to 200 hours of audio just to find it.
So is
But
the audio still out in the internet? Still out there?
I have I don't know. I have copies of the audio still. I think.
Right, but I mean, is it out on the
But
internet to where if you ask ChatGPT to look for it, would it find it?
no, maybe. I think. I think that RSS feed is still good
Let's see, maybe
because
if
we
there's
had that. Well, no, it's not good anymore because the domain went down.
oh, that's
So
right.
yeah, so I don't know what happened to those episodes.
Okay.
Anyway, but so I think what my dream console would be like today is something still Switch that it looks and feels like a Switch, plays like a Switch, but I would want to have like additional cartridge slots so I can put in, say, a 3DS game, pop it into Tate mode, and play, top screen, bottom screen games. Something that can play more, some of the legacy systems, legacy cards.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm not going to ask for NES or Super Nintendo. There's no place to fit the cartridges that big. But, the DS and 3DS games definitely could.
I like the way you think, sir. It's really cool. Do you think the Switch would or another Switch? I know that people joked about it, but if a successor came out and it had a clamshell with a second screen, you think that would be nice, or is that too much?
I think that's too much. Though I would like the idea. But, you don't want to get it too thick because you still want it to fit in a pocket,
Right.
or nice. So one thing I said I wanted back on the Wii U days.
What if it has a
There we go.
foldable screen like
Right.
that?
Back in the
That would
Wii
be
U
nice.
days, I think I said I wanted to have a USB dongle that would let me put in DS and 3DS carts,
Mm,
and so I can then play them, similar to how they had DS Virtual Console games.
yes, I like
Depending
that.
and the actual, like, the hardware of the system, if it can't be emulated through software, still could be done like within the dongle itself. Like it's like a little mini 3DS playing the game and just piping the video out to the system
Right.
through its USB. Though it's only USB 2, so it might not be a good for piping out video, but it's also is probably only 480p video or 240p video. So it might be able to support that bandwidth. I don't know. Or maybe it uses similar technology to the gamepad and do it wirelessly.
That'd be cool. I was just thinking, like, because I think you mentioned this before too, like having a home base that you still like two separate units where the dock is the home base instead of being able to dock the Switch there, it would still just play wirelessly
Mm-hmm.
with the home base. I always thought that was kind of cool. That would be like the next iteration, I would thought, like where you don't necessarily have to plug in the Switch. But it would just wirelessly, like almost like Apple Play, just play through to the home base.
Oh, so you're still holding the Switch, but you're beaming it to a box that'll
Yes.
display it on the TV? Yeah,
Yes.
I can see that.
And then you could transfer games in and out of the home base if necessary.
And then maybe, you know, games could support it like a dual screen display.
Yes.
So actually show two different images on, like your Wii U gamepad versus your TV.
Yes. So that would be like almost that next iteration of the Wii U, I suppose.
Right.
So, but I also liked, what was I thinking of? Shoot, I forgot of it. The home base was one idea, and then I liked the idea of, oh no, I can't, I lost it. But the other thing I would love to see is the ability to, although it won't help Nintendo's numbers, is do the same thing that say Apple does and Google does, where if you buy one software, you can share it with your family. Like if I buy a movie, my family can watch the movie, 'cause we only had to buy it once.
Yeah. Or because I have a family share thing set up with my family with in the Apple program. So like I upgraded to like 200 gig of storage, and we all get 200 gig of storage. I buy a game, everyone has access to the game. I buy a movie, everyone has access to the movie.
Yes. And then also to the store obviously is a little bit more flexible. So the eShop is, and I think this is where they're going, but the eShop is more flexible to where you bought the game, no matter what new system comes out, you are able to play it until a certain point. Just like Apple, just like Google Apps, there's going to be, an OS that it can't support anymore, older stuff.
Yeah, while Apple upgrades every year, so that time could be, iPhone 18 comes out, the game you've written for iPhone 14 won't work anymore.
Right.
But it'll work on the 15. So
right.
I don't think Nintendo would go that drastically, but but definitely, like, especially, this is where backward compatibility comes in.
Yes.
So they can continue releasing games for the Switch or the successor for, say, 18 months. Then starting there, every new game is successor only. Sorry, Switch users, trying to upgrade. But, there has to be some sort of cutoff. I agree. And like I said about PlayStation and Xbox, it took them 3 years. They didn't want to go 3 years. I can guarantee you that. But so Nintendo wasn't going to go 3 years either.
Right. Yeah, I think that would be great too. So it's like instead of having to buy an iteration, and I actually didn't mind it when they did the Wii to Wii U thing where it was like what you had to pay $1 for the upgraded version
for virtual console games. Yeah,
for the virtual console game.
It was like I think $1 for NES, $2 for SNES, and maybe $5 for N64. I don't remember, but it was still a discount if you previously owned it.
Yeah. That one I didn't mind. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll
I was perfectly okay with paying those prices.
And so if they did that again, I wouldn't mind. So I know that wasn't necessarily hardware, but that's more software type of stuff. That I would.
It's still part of the console.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for the Let's Discuss section. Let's move on to events. While I'm going through the events, if anybody who's watching us live, if you got any dream things you would love Nintendo to do, how you would like your dream Nintendo console, I'd love to read it off when we get to the community section. So let's hear it. In the meantime, let's go over the events, starting with Discord community events, The Table. Every third Friday of the month at 10 p.m. Eastern, the community gets together at The Table, otherwise known as the Discord voice chat room, where we discuss whatever is on everyone's mind. A lot of times it's about TV shows or, just crazy stories that we like to make up. But if you want to join in, subscribe to us via Patreon or Twitch and get access to our Discord and join in on a schwack load of events like The Table and Monthly Mayhem. Speaking of Monthly Mayhem, even though there's not one currently going on, the Dads Are After Dark show does a lot of things for Monthly Mayhem, and they actually have a lot of things planned in the coming months. Right now they have September, which leave a new or updated Apple review for the Dads After Dark show, and you'll be entered to win one of two $20 eShop gift cards. Plus, if you use the name Bob Barkley in your written review, your prize will be upgraded to a $35 eShop gift card. So make sure you're getting those reviews in. October, They plan on doing a third annual Halloween Mayhem. That's always a lot of fun. And then November is monthly Mayhem announcement that they'll have then. December, the second annual Presents After Dark, which is our Secret Santa, the community Secret Santa event. And then January, Chubby's Bracket Round 2. Who got fat again? So come into our Discord, again, be a Patreon or pay via Twitch. And you can get into our Discord and be a part of these events, not only in our overall community, but in the Dads After Dark events section. So, all right, Retro Rewind, another part of our family of podcasts. On Topic Retro is doing Retro Rewinds. Their next event, which I think ends pretty soon. This one was going to be a quick turnaround. Joy Mech Fight Tournament. The best of 3 fights. You sign up now, and the winner gets a $20 shop card of their choosing. I believe this ends the day this podcast goes out. So if you're hearing this, make sure you go over to the Retro Rewind On Topic channel and get your numbers in or get your information in to sign up for the best of 3 fights. And then whoever has the best 3 fights wins. You get a $20 shop card of your choice. Yeah. Again, the game is on NSO.
I think last week or the last time we talked about that game, I'm like, I thought we had that game in Switch already. I still haven't had a chance to verify it, but maybe that was released on the Japanese NES card a while ago, and we just now got it on the English side. I don't know.
Okay. Nice. Yep, they're doing Retro Rewinds. And if anybody remembers and listens to the Nintendo Dads long enough, you would know Retro Rewind used to be something that the original OG dads used to do, but we've since handed it off to the Retro Logic. Thank you. Retro. My brain was just like, stop. Retro Logic team. They've been handling the Retro Rewinds ever since and been doing an awesome job. So shout out to John over there for doing all those cool things with that. Also, Seattle Aquarium is doing an Animal Crossing New Horizons themed experience. So beginning October 7th through December 31st, you can go see their Animal Crossing themed setup where you can see some sea otters, harbor seals, octopus, hundreds of special species of fish. The Animal Crossing New Horizons photo opportunity featuring an aquarium themed background with characters from the game. Get themed creature descriptions presented by Blathers with information directly from the game, and standees of familiar characters from the game throughout the aquarium near a wide variety of habitats. A bingo scavenger hunt available via smart device to ensure guests don't miss any of the fun. And this is the first time an aquarium experience like this is available in North America. So if you're in the Seattle area or plan on traveling to Seattle before the end of the year, go check it out if you can. And again, don't forget about Extra Life coming in at the beginning of November. We are still in the planning stages, and hopefully we'll have some information soon, sometime in October, to give to you guys. That's it for the events. Let's go to timeout. I just read that Sam said Retro Rewind itself is now retro. So, all right. So, Jesse, what's your timeout?
Okay, so yeah, this is going to be an unusual topic. Of course, I think I creeped out Justin a little bit last week when I talked about sports massages, but this week I want to talk about pedicures. Not something that most men have ever done. Most people, when they think of pedicures, is get your toenails painted or something like that. I'm like, okay, that's you can do that, but it's actually a lot more. With how big of a guy I am, so it's hard to get down there and properly clean the feet sometimes, like in the showers and in baths. So you get a lot of just dry skin, and it just feels weird to walk on sometimes. It's hard to get down there to trim the nails. but a pedicure every once in a while, like once every month, once every other month, will help you with your feet hygiene. So
Nice.
like, so to put, some, they'll go in there and actually clean out like all the dead skin that builds up in the cuticles or the space between the nail and your the outside of the toe,
Yeah.
and that like similar to the sports massage from last week. Sometimes, yeah, it can hurt when what they have to do in order to get it fixed. It might hurt a bit, and so that will do that. I have drawn blood before,
Really?
which, but they're trained on how to fix it. Just like this. I've seen people when they're doing hand nails, will cut something and start bleeding, and there's a process that they do that kind of pots it up pretty quick. So yeah, and I know a lot of people have a tickle reflex with feet.
Mm.
I do a little bit too. So when they're doing there with the scrubber, getting rid of some of that dead
Yeah.
skin, that's like, oh, it's part. This hurts. This tickles. This is a really weird sensation.
Right. Right.
But I don't like my youngest daughter's boyfriend is like refuses to do it, and I refused to do it for years until my wife finally said, you should do it, and I'm like, yeah, I think now's the time. So in fact, I was there this afternoon. I think this is like my third or fourth time I've done it. I kind of go every other time when my wife goes. But yeah,
Nice.
if you've never had one before, I'd say give it a try. That's why I say it's worth it. Like then the place we go, I think it runs like $50, and then we tip the tech 10, so like $60.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's give us if you've had them before, let us know what you in Discord or comments what you thought. If you've never gone and I might have convinced you, let us know that too. I think that might be fun to talk
That
about
would
it.
be fun. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Mo Spankin says he recommends everyone get one at some point or another, especially if you wear flip flops. And he also expecting you to show your feet at some point on
I
screen
don't think
here.
I can lift my foot that tall so the camera to see. But so something I did learn throughout this doing this multiple times, because I used to I didn't own flip flops or sandals. I would show up in feet in normal shoes and have to take the shoes off, take the socks off and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but if you just show up in a sandal or a flip flop, it's something specifically something you don't mind getting wet, because you have your feet soaking in water,
Right.
and when they normally do a good job of containing the water, but the water can splash and get on the floor. So yeah, so the last few times I went, including today, I in fact I ordered a set of flip flops specifically for doing that, because I didn't own any
That's
before at
smart.
the first time. So
That's smart.
it does come in handy. And yeah, make sure if you bring any bags that you don't want to get wet, they normally have a place you can that's off floor that you can stick it
Yes.
like a like I brought my leather satchel that I use for SCA events with, because I kept my Switch in there,
Okay.
because my wife was going to get her fingernails done, so I wasn't. That's not something I have ever done yet. So she had 20 or 30 minutes of work to do. I was just sitting there waiting, so I brought up my Switch and played more of the game that I'm playing.
Nice. So a
But yeah,
couple more.
I would suggest, if you haven't tried pedicure, guys, do it.
Yep.
It's an experience.
And then Friendo says, for the price of a game, you can get your feet a treat. And Beer Beer Cerveza says, still less expensive than MK1. That's what
True.
I laughed at too. All right.
Jesse's
Jesse's
Spa
Spa
Dad's Minute.
Dad's Minute. There you go. That's another potential title for you. All right. My thing is I'm going to talk about the Jack Stack barbecue that Jesse sent out to me for winning our impromptu bet that we had a couple weeks ago when the Lions and Chiefs were playing
I
during
blame
our
Justin.
podcast. Yes. Yes, because it was just like we're just fine, just goofing around, just our two teams playing against each other, and then all of a sudden it became a bet. So the thing was is that if my team lost, I would have to send Detroit food over to Jesse, and that was going to be I was going to send him like Detroit pizza or something, or order it if it was available in the area, order it for him or whatever, or send him a gift card or whatever. We were going to figure it out. But if my team won, then Jesse was going to send some Kansas City barbecue my way, which he did. He sent Jack Stack barbecue, where I got some burnt beef tips, baby back ribs, and wings, and then a bottle of their sauce. So we are looking forward to trying that out this weekend. And I think that was actually a question that came up later on in the community thing. Yeah, episode was asking when am I going to warm up the Jack Stacks, and that is going to be this weekend. So by next show, I will have a report for you. But my daughter's also hoping that we actually stream this us cooking it up and trying it in front of the camera. So you might see us streaming that. So be on the lookout for a post for that, or if not a stream, at least a recording. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see
So
how
I think she was thinking this would be grill food, but what was delivered is food that has already been cooked and then flash frozen, so it doesn't need to be cooked again. It just needs to be reheated. So
Yep.
I think going to a grill or a smoker is overkill here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
We'll
probably
figure it out.
in the oven for a bit. Will or maybe even stovetop, depending on what the foods are.
We'll probably just
We'll
do like a video of just getting it out, looking at the instructions, getting it ready, and then we'll cut over to when it's done and trying it out or something. So
yeah.
we'll figure it out. We'll share Jack Stack's barbecue, the Nintendo Dad's barbecue show. We'll see. We'll see how it all works out.
Barbecue show versus spa show. Huh?
Right. We've got the spa and then the good eats. So there's actually a really good barbecue place around the corner from us. I don't know what kind of barbecue you wouldn't want to call it, but it's called Bad Brad's. Not sure if it's a chain or anything like that, but I took my mom there a couple months ago and it was really good. And now I want to take the family there to try so they see how they like it. I had some barbecue pulled pork on nachos, and that was so good. Now I want to go back. All right, let's
Nice.
jump to what we've been playing. All right, so I see Marty's been playing Sea of Stars. I think that was left from the last show or something like that, or last time.
That might have been.
So, and I've still been playing it, and Jesse, you've still been playing it too. So,
Yeah.
how far are you now?
I'm in the graveyard area, meeting them.
The flooded graveyard, yeah.
Yeah, doing a talk with the necromancer there. The the scene with the ferryman was weird.
I thought that was hilarious. It was pretty funny. It was kind of like you had to say the lady who talked to him had to say things in rhyme.
Yeah, and his response was in rhyme.
Yeah, and then when she tried to get away from it because it was like waste of time, he would just be like, "What did you say?" Because it wasn't in rhyme.
Yeah,
but that was pretty funny.
And of course, the characters don't know, but we know who that fourth playable character really is.
Yes.
So,
which is also funny too.
Yeah, I don't know what it'll be like when that is revealed to the other characters. But so, what I kind of like a prediction. The people who's already finished it will know whether I'm on the right track or way off. But I kind of have a prediction of how I think this game is going to go.
Okay.
So far, I've met 2 elemental wizards and kind of befriended them. In fact, one of them appeared to be a boss. You do fight him and defeat him, but then you end up being friends at the end. And then the second guy, he's a friend from the start. I don't know how many elemental wizards you'll find, but I have a feeling you're going to build an army of elemental wizards, and they'll be used in like some final climactic battle.
I like that.
That's kind of where I think this game's going to go.
I did not even think of that. That
Yeah,
possibility. That's a good
yeah.
one.
So
I like
so in
that.
terms of time, I'm about 5 to 6 hours in.
Yeah, I'm just a
So
little over.
considering this is a 20 to 30 hour game, I'm still 10%, like 15% in. So
Yeah, I'm
there's
about
plenty of
7.
time for my prediction to go way wrong.
I'm about 17 hours in, which I believe is over the halfway point. But I tend to take a little longer in my games, so I could still be halfway and potentially. So, but
Right.
I'm really enjoying the game. I like it a lot.
Yeah. When I got to the area where kind of that replayed the area of the demo, I'm like, okay, the whole arm wrestling match. I'm like, I've heard these jokes before. Where have I heard these jokes before? Oh, duh, in the demo.
Right. Yep.
It took
That was
it
pretty
took me
funny.
a while to figure that one out.
Yeah, there's I'm fully expecting more surprises. Uh because there's usually some sort of surprise or two in these type of games, I think, especially when it has to deal with potential of time, which I'm still waiting. So I'm trying not to spoil anything for you, so or anybody
Okay.
else. But um I'll say this because we all see this at the beginning is the person who's narrating the story, or if that cuts back to that person who's telling the
Uh-huh.
story. I think that person's going to have something to do with this as well. That's my prediction later in the story.
Yeah, and I also don't know how the Four Crows fit into all this.
Yeah, that one I'm not 100% sure
Not
either.
sure if they are crows. They have these bird-like medicine man type
Right.
of man, and they just refer to themselves as 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know if these are other characters we've already met, just or if we'll meet soon. I don't know. So
Yep.
a lot of holes that need filling. But again, I have a ways to go.
Yep. Some of those things will start filling in, but like I said, I'm I just have about halfway through, and I know there's still things that I'm trying to learn. But the one cool thing I did come across that you haven't yet is the sanctuary, or the ancient sanctuary, ancient tomb, or something like that, where all the tombstones are of all the people who backed the game at various levels. And unfortunately, Jesse and Justin didn't go at the level high enough to get a
Yeah,
tombstone.
you needed to go at the $60 Canadian level, and
Yeah.
I did not. I don't. I think I was like the $35 level. Pretty much, it gives me the game and very little else.
Yeah. But if anybody else is out there playing the game and you got to the tomb or you backed it and you do have a tomb, I'd love to have the coordinates of that tomb so I can go visit your grave site or your tomb. So that would be pretty cool. And I'll
Yeah,
try to take a
yeah.
picture of
So
it and share it.
I was going through that campaign, and they did have a $2,000 slot for one person that would get the title of like whatever the big bad is called in the game. I forgot night something night crypt walk. I don't know, but
Okay.
basically they that person, whoever that is, will be credited as such in the credits, but also got to help design the character in game.
Oh, nice.
So I like it when the a Kickstarter reward has the backer involved in directly with the game development.
Do you
I
ever
think
think you'll ever
that was
back a
pretty
game
cool.
that high at some point?
I almost did. I ended up not being able to afford it at the time. This was Tome. I don't know if you
Oh, yeah,
remember
yeah.
me talking
I
about
do
that
remember
several
that
years
one.
ago.
Yeah.
I did eventually back it at the lower level just to buy the game,
Yeah.
and I've never gotten around to playing it. After, and that was like 3 or 4 years ago already.
There have been a couple games that I've been like very tempted, but or trying to figure out a way to back it at a higher level to be able to get whatever it is that was there. Um, but it's just some, right
Yeah,
now
I
it's
I
hard to
wanted,
justify.
yeah, for that tome campaign, I wanted to go high enough where it would get like my avatar in as an enemy
Okay,
that you'd have to fight.
nice.
But yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, there was another game I just backed that had levels where you could pay certain amounts where you could either design a weapon, design an NPC, or design uh, an enemy or something like that. So there was like three different things you could help design depending on how much you made. And I thought I like those ideas too. I always liked that, and always thought it'd be very cool to pay that amount to be able to help design something and have a piece of something I helped to work on a game. So I always thought that would be cool. Or even like the game also had a higher level. I think it was $2,000 to be an executive producer of the game. So that was always interesting too.
Yeah, maybe
All right,
one day. Maybe when I win a lottery one day.
right. Yeah, there we go. Be able to back a game or something or two. All right, Jesse, you got another thing called the Flashboy Plus here.
Yeah, it's something I ordered a while ago, and I actually forgot about it, but it came in this week. It's a flash cart for a Virtual Boy.
Nice.
That though the the biggest downside is it's not a multi cart. Like what I have for the Game Boy, like where I can slap a whole ton of ROMs on and pick the one through a menu.
Yeah.
I'm only able to put one game on here. Then if
Wonder
I want to
why.
change, it's memory restriction. I think. I think this was originally designed like 10 or 12 years ago,
Oh,
and
okay. Gotcha.
that are just happen to still be manufactured in batches from time to
Okay.
time. So when I ordered it, I just got myself put into a queue. So yeah, it's still using relatively old tech. It uses a mini USB, not a micro
Oh,
USB.
wow. Okay.
So
Yeah.
so like the type you'd use to charge a PS3 controller.
Right.
So yeah, they probably could have enhanced it more, but they just haven't yet. But
Probably because there's not
still,
enough people wanting to buy it or
yeah,
something.
that and there's only they say 20 some games unless you start going into homebrew. I did try to look for some homebrew to download, and most of it's kind of a lot of it's tech demo type of stuff, not really
Hmm.
games. So very few things worth downloading. But I haven't had a chance to actually try this yet. But I do want to someday. But so I have access to files that I can try to play.
Cool. So a future timeout topic.
Maybe.
Possibly. All right. Very cool. All right. For me, I've been playing also Baldur's Gate 3 still with Sam and Shannon in our community. And we've been having a blast doing that for a couple hours on the weekend. It's basically a D&D campaign, so but we're getting pretty deep into the game. It's a lot of fun. So if you don't know what Baldur's Gate 3 is, I won't do it any justice. I would say go look it up. It is a D&D based game, RPG, turn-based RPG game, and popular, and just waiting for it to come out, or not. It is coming out or is already out. It's already on the PS5, hopefully soon on the Xbox, but I'm waiting for cross play to be
Did they promise it yet, or is that a
they
hope?
did. They did.
Okay.
They said once they announce that it's coming to Xbox, then they're gonna do cross play. That'll come later. Once they announce that, then I'm gonna probably try to play it on console because I am getting frustrated with the camera on the PC side with using my mouse and keyboard to try to move the character around. Um, but luckily it's a slower game anyways, so I don't need to move around fast.
Yeah, it's still turn-based combat and stuff.
Yeah.
And and my understanding is even like non-combat scenarios will require dice rolls to
Yes.
determine if what you want to happen will.
Right. Roll initiative and all that kind of stuff. But and that's one of the things I like too is it has a lot of You can get customized dice you can bring in too. So whenever you're rolling your 20-sided die, you got a customized dice you can use. So it's really cool. Again, I play Sea of Stars on my PS5. Sometimes I wish I chose to play it on my Switch because it would have been easier to, play it in different places, but I'm able to still get it.
Like at the like my afternoon out, I was able to play it on the Switch, waiting
right,
for my
exactly.
wife.
Exactly. I've been tempted in bringing a PS5 controller with me to play it on my phone remotely.
Kind of backboning it.
Yeah. So, but I don't, and I've been thinking about that too, but maybe I'll put that on a Christmas list or something. On the Switch, I've been playing a lot more. Animal Crossing still, again, like I mentioned, playing that with the family. I bought turnips this week, so I've been keeping an eye on my turnip numbers. Supposed to get a spike tomorrow, so looking forward to that. But I've been playing the DLC, which is a lot of fun. That's got me back into it because the DLC allows me to be creative there. Because it has a component. If nobody's aware of what that DLC is, the Happy Home Designer type DLC allows me to give residents of the island what they want in their homes. So it allows me to take like a set of stuff and decorate their homes without me having to, tear my island apart and redecorate because I'm, want to be creative. I could be creative with all these other islands. So, which is really cool. Plus, it opens up some more newer items that I didn't have access to from the store over there in the work area. So lots of fun with the Animal Crossing again. Spending more hours there, which is a lot of fun. I played MythForce. That was a couple weeks ago. I played that. There's a video up on that. My first look on that. That was a lot of fun to play. First person cartoonish, Saturday morning cartoon, look to it. It was fun too because it was, although on the Nintendo Switch it only allows for me to play co-op with somebody, one other person. It was still fun because I was able to join with another person and make a run, which threw me off. MythForce is a roguelike game. I did not know it was.
They didn't mention that in the advertising.
Yeah, because it's basically you try to build up your character as you're making a run through the castle, and it changes. It's through every time you try to make a run. But
they plugged it more like a brawler, like a Final Fight.
right, I thought it was going to be a brawler, and then I thought, oh, it's going to. I saw weapons being used in the first person view, and I was like, oh, it's going to be like a Doom type thing. So it was like, I just thought it was going to be a Saturday morning cartoon Doom game, but it's kind of like that, but roguelite or like. So, but it's still fun. So I want to get back to playing that eventually. I didn't play it this week, but hopefully jumping back into it. Solar Ash is another game I'm playing. It is a fast-paced action platformer, where you're basically your character slides on a lot of things, glides, and it is. I don't want to say it. It's not a Metroidvania, but it has some aspects of Metroidvania to it, to where there's some difficulty with the camera, not from their point of view, but from my point of view, just playing it. Although I get frustrated when I constantly have to rotate the camera in the view I want. But it is an action platformer where you're a character trying to find out what happened to your team on this planet, and basically you guys got disconnected, and that's kind of what I got out of it from the gist of it. And the first character, and again, I have a video up on this, the first boss I fought, because I thought for whatever reason I was having a hard time on the first run on this boss, and when I got done on that first run, I thought I was done, but no, I had to do it 3 times. So
Oops.
I was like, yes, I'm done. It's like, oh wait, what's going on here? I'm not done. I got to fight it 2 more times. So, but it was fun to go through, and I like the art. It is by the same company or same developers that did Hyper Light Drifter. So the mechanics are kind of similar, but right now I'm kind of drawing a blank in exactly what else to tell about the game. I would say check it out. I wish they had a demo on it because that would probably do very well as well for people to learn about this game. But go check out the first look on that one too if you're curious. Another game I did a first look on was a game called Ugly. It is a puzzle platformer where it uses a unique platformer using a mirror. So where you interact with yourself on the other side of this mirror and can change where you are based on that mirror. So I can transport myself to the other side of that mirror to get to certain areas on the screen or the world or whatever. And I can do it either horizontally or vertically.
Hmm.
And it, for example, if I use the mirror, I may not be able to get to a place above me because I can't put the mirror above me. I have to put it down on the floor. But if I use the mirror to go down a ladder for my character to go down the ladder, the mirror image of myself will go up to that platform I couldn't reach. And then I just transport myself up to that, to my other self there. And then I'm up on that platform and then able to get whatever I need to up there or get to in that next space. So I really love the puzzles. It won some awards for puzzles and the uniqueness of using the mirror, but it also touches on some what they call it, psychology type stuff, because it tells a story about this character feeling ugly, and they were mentally abused because of that. And so I'm learning more about the story about this character that I am in the game, how he feels ugly, how he was treated as ugly, and I'll find out if he actually is or not, or if he was just treated as such. So very interesting. So warning on that part if you don't want to, deal with that type of possible depression from that. So, but again, I got a first look on Ugly on our channel as well. You can go check that out. And then a couple more games. They're both racing games. One is Horizon Chase 2, which I also have a first look out on, which is obviously a sequel to the first one. It is a racing game. It is an arcade racing game, kind of similar, I think, more similar than even the first game was to the Nintendo one, the cruising games. So this one, the first one, I think was more geared towards like the 80s or 90s type racing games. I think if I remember correctly, the second one is geared more towards the this Horizon Chase 2 is more geared towards the cruising type games and has that same feel where you can upgrade it and get some crazy cars or go on these crazy courses to race on. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. And it has some leaderboards where you can see how you do with your laps or the course time with the world or with your friends that have the game as well. So that's always fun to see how well you do get your friends. So again, there's a first look on that out on our channel for that game, Horizon Chase 2. And then finally, I've been playing F-Zero 99. And I was kind of apprehensive of jumping into that game because I really never got into F-Zero 99 or F-Zero games because the controls always frustrated me. And I played it once or twice and I was like, okay, I don't want to take the time to learn this. And so I just kind of moved on. But I decided to go with F-Zero 99, just keep learning. And I think it's got a great tutorial on how to learn how to use the controls and play. And I'm having a blast with this game. Jesse, I don't know if you've tried F-Zero 99 yet.
I have. I think I did 2 or 3 of the Grand Prix over the weekend when they ran them every half an hour.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get past the third stage.
Okay.
So and then I went to the leaderboard and it said I was still unranked. Do a Grand Prix to get ranked. I'm like, I did 3 of them. What do you want me to do?
That's weird.
So I was confused.
Huh. I did the Grand Prix too. I got up to, what is there, 4 or 5 races?
5.
5. Yeah, I got up to the first one I did. I got up to the 4th race and crashed out. And then the second Grand Prix I joined, I got up to the 3rd race and crashed out. So, but the other races, I think the highest I got was 12th place.
Yeah, I normally land. I kind of land anywhere between 30s and 60s.
Okay. Yeah, I've gotten a few of those. I've gotten in the top 50 and then a few in the top 25. So I felt pretty proud of myself for getting that. There's definitely some skill and
yeah, like you could be riding in like 6th place and then hit one wall wrong, and now you're in 46th place.
Yeah. There's a couple
pretty
times
unforgiving.
I was like right behind first place, and I think there was one race where I was in first place, and then there's a strategy there that I haven't picked up on yet, especially when you get towards the end of the race that others have, and they just like, as I'm getting towards the end and trying to survive, I just see these people blow past me, and next thing I know, I'm 12th place, for example, instead of first place. So, but I'm really enjoying the game, so I'm having fun with it.
The big major strategy is to pick up the balls left when people or when two cars collide.
Yeah,
which means you have to be behind them to do that. So if you're first second, place, or third, you're not going to get any of those.
Yeah, that's. So there is some strategy behind it. You got to be able to use the boost at some point too, without, if you're in first place, you're less likely to get hit by other people. But I think one of the things I got to get used to is the slide buttons, the shoulder buttons, to be able to drift. Because there's the slide buttons, and then you also have the trigger buttons. So the shoulder buttons are slide, and then the trigger buttons give you the spin move to kind of get people off of you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And so my brain is just trying to get all that going. It's like I'm trying
to back in
everything at once.
The day, I was actually pretty good at F-Zero, and I was able to eventually beat all the tracks.
Nice.
And definitely using the shoulder buttons as you're leaning, making those tighter turns at the faster speeds is required. But I don't know how that works anymore.
Right? There's just,
I remember having to do it. I don't remember how I did it.
For a while there, I was doing pretty good without using them, but I think if I want to get better, I'm going to have to learn how to use those better. So it's timing on everything. Timing for the spin move, timing for those drifts, timing for the boost because it impacts your shield, and then timing for regaining health on your shield, and then timing on when you go up on that second level, because you got to figure out when's the best point to go up on that second level to avoid maybe some turns, because some of those, the second level will go straight through as opposed to going, twisting through some of those turns.
I know originally I was avoiding going up, when I was to the top track when I was approaching the lap marker, because I didn't think you could be able to hit the energy recharge on the top rack, but you still can.
Yeah, I could see that. I actually thought that too, and stumbled upon that you could, just the timing wise. But yeah, I'm sure if you play it enough, like some people, might have the time to do that, or just constantly playing it will get good at it. So,
and you already got people out there that have 12 wins, and
right?
Like, okay, go away.
Those cheaters. They're just cheaters. All right. Well, that's what I've been playing. So let's go on to the community spotlight. All right. So again, thanks for everybody who stopped by and watched us record this episode. In our chats, we got Beer there, Chris HL stopped by, Mikey Dreamer, then Friendo is here, Mo Spankins. Who else did we see? Sam was here, that third strongest mole from Retro Logic. Darth Platypus stopped by. Just Being Bruce stopped by. So thank you very much to everybody who stopped by. And so, oh, and Kristen AB. Oh, that's Christian. So did we get a voicemail from Christian? No, we didn't. You're
No.
slacking, Chris. You're slacking. No. All right. Don't forget, if you want to leave a voicemail, you can always leave a voicemail too. You don't necessarily have to leave a comment of questions. You can always call 929-25-NDADS, just like Christian usually does, but he's slacking, so he didn't. All right, let's start with our questions. Of course, we got a couple questions from Mecca. First one is, what big release game have you not got around playing or buying?
And there was a game that came out last week that I didn't buy yet. I'm trying to find it because for some reason Nintendo didn't put out a PR on last week's releases, which so I have to dig through my other notes. Yeah, Batten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster. That's a game I was interested in, but because of Sea of Stars and other games going on, so far I haven't purchased that one.
Gotcha.
But that released last week.
One that I haven't gotten around to that I did buy, I did start a couple hours of, is Starfield. I started that and then just kind of like I've been playing all these other games as I talked about in the last segment. And then Sea of Stars is the one I sit down with the most right now. I want to get that done, and then we'll see on timing. Hopefully I'll be able to get back to Starfield, but Starfield's a big game. So it's like, do I really want to get into another big game? Because I'm doing Baldur's Gate 3 right now, and that's a huge game too. But at least I'm doing that with some friends and not on my own. So, but yeah, that's the one I haven't gotten around to playing. And I guess getting around to playing more is Tears of the Kingdom.
Right.
I kind of just stopped playing that. So
yeah, I'm so surprised that of the four of us, I'm the only one who finished it.
Yeah, I've been trying not to beat myself up about it because it's like I really wanted to finish the game and not finish it in 5 years like Breath of the Wild. But I'm just not in the mood to play right now. It's like I just want to play. Right now, I'm really into Sea of Stars, so I try to play that whenever I can sit down in front of the screen and play it. That's where my mood is. So I'm trying not to beat myself up about it and just playing games that I'm having fun with. So hopefully nobody else out there is beating themselves up about not being able to play a game they haven't been able to get to or even buy and not be able to get to. So it's one of the things we have to learn as gamers. We like these games. We want to buy them. I've had to learn to stop buying the games if I'm not going to play it right now. So unless there's a super cool sale on it or something, then maybe. Yeah, all right.
We'll see what happens next week. Minico's Night Market is releasing. Will that take me away from Sea of Stars, or will that be backlogged? I don't know yet.
That's a good point. We'll see. Stay tuned for the next episode of Nintendo Dads. All right.
What's wrong with you?
How do you think Nintendo will deal with the transition between Switch and the next console compared to how they transitioned to Wii U and Switch?
Well, they didn't.
Exactly. We talked about that a little bit earlier, right? It was like,
yeah,
there was different circumstances then. They had to get away from the Wii U because it was selling so badly. And people already knew there was a next system coming out, and it was just like they just had to move quickly. So this is a little bit different circumstance where they have a successful system. They don't want to make the same mistakes they did with the Wii to Wii U in the Switch to Switch 2.
Yeah, well, one big problem with Wii to Wii U is they waited too long. The Wii had kind of fizzled out. The Switch, yeah, it's slowing, but I don't think it's gotten to the point where you can call it a fizzle yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
But if they don't do it next year, it could.
Right. It's been interesting to see, too, compared to people love new technology. They want it, and we talked about this when the Switch first came out, is that we thought, hey, Nintendo could do the smartphone path. Maybe not every year, but every few years they come out with a new iteration of the central unit. Just come out with this, and then you can just use the Joy-Cons, slide on the Joy-Cons to the new base system, and every few years you got an upgrade. They didn't go that route, which is interesting. They're still following the same route as traditional console every 7 years. So, and of course, there will be overlap. So the original Switch will carry on as a probably discounted version, if that, unless the Switch 2 is completely backwards compatible. Obviously, they'll probably just stop selling the Switch original one and just sell Switch 2.
Yeah, I think there is going to be some overlap with this time. Maybe, again, I don't see it going much more than 18 months, but I think it's going to be at least 6. I think it'll be too soon to kill it that fast, but
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yep. So potentially we'll see Switch on the shelves next holiday. That same Mario Kart 8 bundle next holiday, on sale next to the new Switch, possibly.
Maybe they'll be the OLEDs because they need, as a get these out of the warehouse.
OLED MK8 bundles. That'd be cool. Very cool.
Not MK1s.
No MK1s. No MK8s. All right, Alan, look to the cookie. Ask this difficult question. I know this one confused you, Jesse, but hopefully this we got straightened out. What would you say is the part of a game you are least interested in? We'll start with that. So overall, when you're playing games, what part of a game is the least interest to you?
I think it depends on the game. Obviously, like if it's a Mario game, I would say story. But if it's a Final Fantasy game, I would say not story. Story is one of the most important things. So that's why I was asking, what game are you talking about? A specific game or just in general? I was confused.
I was initially too, and then I reread it a few times. I was like, oh wait,
so yeah,
general.
It depends on the franchise and the genre of game. I would have different answers depending on those.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's scanning. So, for example, Metroid Prime has that scanning feature, and I think there's a couple other games out there that have the scanning feature. I don't like it. I mean, I understand why it's there. I do it.
I remember not liking it either.
I just
when I tried playing Prime.
When I'm playing it, I just want to go through and kill aliens and space pirates, and all that kind of stuff. But then I have to stop and slow things down. It just feels like I have to stop. It's like it disrupts the momentum of what I'm feeling the game could do. Maybe that's because I like Doom and I like the speed of Doom, just kind of running through and stuff like that. But I have to scan, and I want to scan because I want to know there's some story bits in the scans. So,
kind of like when I was trying to play Luigi's Mansion 3, and it was just so slow, and I didn't want it to be that slow.
Yeah, I don't like it when it slows down the gameplay, and that's probably why I'm frustrated too with those type of things. Especially with the scan parts, I'll scan because it's part of the story. Like if I scan the mainframes of the computers or whatever. But if I have to scan creatures just so I can get the percentages up to unlock things that I want to see in the game, or in, because you can, in Metroid Prime, when you scan enough things, you can unlock extras, Or
if you're going for that 100% and you forget to scan phase 2 of a boss fight, you're screwed.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah, you're done. So it's frustrating. The other thing that I am least interested in a game is crafting. It's like that.
Didn't Justin say he was tired of crafting as well?
Justin and Marty, I think we brought it up before. It's like in Legend of Zelda, the crafting, breaking the weapons and stuff is frustrating too. But crafting, seems like a lot of games are just trying to fit crafting in, or let's put crafting in here too, or something like that. It's just like, I could understand it for certain things. Like, I didn't mind it in Outer Worlds because crafting helped you repair weapons. So you could still at least use the same weapon you liked and repair your weapon, which I wish Legend of Zelda did, where you can repair the weapon. If you really liked it, you could just repair it.
I'm thinking back. I think the first game I ever played that had a crafting type of mechanic was Dragon Quest VIII. It had like the alchemy pot. You throw in 2 or 3 items in, and out comes something else.
Yeah.
And again, I kind of hated it because, previously RPGs teaches you, if you're done with a sword, sell it. You're never going to use it again. Get the money.
Yes.
But with this, you never know when you're going to use something that's old. Or
Right.
sometimes you need to find an old sword. So you have to track back to the newbie town just to buy that sword for 80 gold to use in to forge Excalibur or something stupid like that.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, I agree. I'm kind of. I wasn't a fan with it back then when 2005, 2006, and then much less 2023.
All right. So to continue those questions, what about a game are you the most interested in? What about, so instead of the least, what about a game are you the most interested in?
Again, that kind of depends on the genre. Like a Mario game, you want tight, fast gameplay. Like if it's a Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, you want the story.
Fair point.
Yeah, it depends on the genre or what you're playing.
All right. I agree with that. So for him, he says, I'm least interested about the story and most concerned about gameplay, followed closely by pacing. So
he doesn't like slow games either.
Yes. That's what I got out of it too. Great question though. It made us think for sure. Not like the others, the other ones don't make us think. They're just kind of like, no, I'm kidding. Darth Platypus asks, if you could have an action figure of any Nintendo character made, who would you pick?
I don't know. The wall up here tells me I have a lot of them already, but they're not exactly action figures, but I don't know. Maybe I'd go with something from Dragon Quest or something from Persona, like Joker or a hero. Like here,
Okay.
Dragon Quest V hero. I
That's
think,
not a Nintendo character.
Oh, it's not. But the character's on a Nintendo system.
You.
But
that's true. They're in Smash.
I've never really been an action figure guy, even as a kid. So I don't know. Tingle.
Well, there you go. There's the answer. Yeah, I mean, because they're starting to get some action figures. Like there's some new ones that came out that are more posable. So not just the statue type thing, but they're action figures. Like there's a new Samus one that's got more articulated joints, which I haven't picked up yet, surprisingly. But yeah, I'm trying not to say Samus because obviously that's a gimme when it comes to me, but I'm trying to think of another character from a Nintendo Nintendo game. I was thinking maybe from like I want to see more of the bad guys, some action figures of the bad guys. Because we got all the good guys like Samus I saw, Link I saw. Let me have
you got Bowser Lego.
Yeah, that's true. But get Ganondorf figure, get a Ripley figure. That would be cool. Posable action figure. So
yeah,
then you can have the 2 figures, set up in a fight or whatever. All right. Next question from Darth Platypus is, if Nintendo were to put out a new VR headset other than the obvious Mario game they would make, what would you like to try in VR?
I'd like to see them remake some of these Virtual Boy games that no one has ever played, because the thing sold 150,000 units total.
Yeah.
or something stupid like that.
Yeah, I like that because do like a remastered Virtual Boy games, and then
Yeah,
also
like
even
they missed the chance to do that as Virtual Console
on the
or
3DS. Yeah, but I was gonna say 3DS games too, where you could either remastered where you're in there a little bit more in depth, but even if
like
they put 3DS
like
games,
redoing Mario Land that actually needed
yeah,
the 3D aspect for some of the
yes,
bonus rooms.
that would be cool. But for sure, you know what I'm gonna say: Metroid
The
Prime in
Metroid.
VR, Metroid Prime
Yeah,
VR.
I don't know if I'd want a first person game, but I think something like a top camera 2D Zelda that actually shows the depth of field would be
Yeah,
cool.
like Link in Between Worlds. Imagine
Yeah,
playing that in
but the thing
VR.
you have to be careful of, and like I tried playing, I forget the name of the game I played on PlayStation, where it's kind of like a Lemmings type of game with humans, but not. Uh, but I tried that in VR mode, and while you're able to look at the map in pretty much any angle from any distance you want, but you're also hovering over a void. I don't want to do that in VR because
Right.
that's disorienting and gonna make me sick. I need to be able to actually believe that you are standing on something while you're looking at this environment.
Okay,
I don't want to stand over a void.
that makes sense. Most Bankin says I want DK from the Mario movie. As a toy, I believe, the action figure. Um, and then
Miss says the
also,
game is called Humanity. That's what it was.
okay, that's what it was. Yeah. And then he also said, Most Bankin said, I'm actually getting really burnt out on modern game mechanics. I just feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over and over. Interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
that's been game mechanics since day one.
Yeah. Or like overwhelming on mechanics, like putting a lot, like the bigger RPGs to me, it's just like there's so much in-depth stuff you can like drill down in the menus upon menus upon menus of building your character. And there was a time when I would have loved to have done that, but right now I just like, give me a few things I can customize, but just let me at the game. All right.
Right.
Great questions, Darth Platypus. Next couple questions we got from Beer. First one is Mario Wonder or Mario RPG? If you could only pick one, which one would it be?
I'd say Wonder because that's of the two. That's the only game that's new. We've had RPG for almost 30 years on the Super Nintendo. That'll, presuming that'll still be there. That's, yeah. I'm
The
presuming he
original one?
means, yeah. I'm presuming he means Mario RPG Switch
Yeah,
can be burned. But so yeah, I'd say Wonder if I had to pick one. Though I'm getting both.
right.
I have both pre-ordered, ready to go.
Yep. I used the Best Buy deal they had going on where you could buy 2 free games and include pre-orders and get one free. So that got those 2 games in that deal. The third game was Pikmin 1 and 2.
Oh,
Physical.
right. That's coming
So,
soon physically.
yep. So in
I
fact,
forget about that because I bought them digitally on day one.
Yep, that one's actually coming this week, if I remember correctly. So in a couple days. All right.
Yeah, I should
Oh,
play
and I would
Pikmin 3
pick.
again.
I would pick probably. That's a tough one because I've never played Mario RPG.
Ah,
So I mean, yeah, granted, I could go back and play the original and go with Mario Wonder, like you said. I'm gonna go Mario Wonder. I'll do Mario Wonder as well. I had to pick one. So hope that answers your
yep.
question, Beer
Well,
Beer.
we're a month out.
Yep. All right. Do you ever listen to music while gaming? If so, what's in your playlist?
I do not. Normally when I'm gaming, that's what I want to focus on. If I have music going on in the background, that could lead to distraction, especially, like if you're doing something monotonous, like, say, going back to my Dragon Quest example, just grinding levels, not doing anything. Yeah, I can watch TV or listen to music while I do that. But if it's like something that's story heavy, that's where I want my focus to be, and I don't want anything
Right.
going on. Because
Yeah.
usually the music within the game enhances the story.
How about your Picross games?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a good one. Like when I'm doing Picross, I'll normally have like YouTube videos going on in the background. But but if I were to pick to use my playlist, yeah, I basically have two audio playlists that I have access to.
Okay.
One is through my Apple iTunes library, which consists of about 50% video game music. Maybe it's more like 60 now because I've added a bunch.
Okay.
Um, so if you take that out, then we got about 50% of what's left. We have Weird Al. I-
All right. That's perfect.
And then the last quarter is just pretty much miscellaneous. Anything else I've picked up over 30 years of music collecting, which isn't much.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, and then if I want to go with my Pandora playlist, I pretty much I don't. So I have it feed off of Jonathan Colton as the artist.
Okay.
He's uh, he did the Toad Monkeys. He's done Still Alive in Portal and Watch You Gone in Portal 2. Uh, so a Weird Al but does more new things instead of parody things.
Okay.
So I do get some Weird Al is in it because of that. I get other comedians in there from that.
Right.
But yeah, the Jonathan Colton's my key on that for that playlist.
Cool. I haven't done it as much as I used to. I used to do it a lot with racing games. I would have a playlist put together. In fact, one of my favorite racing games was Excite Truck, which allowed me to put songs on an SD card and put it in the Wii.
Until they patched
And
out MP3 support.
yeah, at the time I was able to do it and I loved it. And I would play, it was a lot of heavy metal and
Did
um
that still work if you had files in AAC format?
whatever they did, I don't think it affected me because I was still able to use it for a bit, and maybe it wasn't until later that it got patched out because my playlist still worked that I had on the MP3 or on the SD card. I don't remember being affected by that change, so maybe I just changed the file formats or whatever. I don't remember doing that, but I don't remember that detail. But that's what I did with that game. But later on, when the games with racing games, I would have my own playlist until the game's own music got better and had songs that I enjoyed. Like Asphalt 9 has a really good EDM electronic music that I like when I'm racing. So, and even like Horizon Chase 2 has so far I've been enjoying its soundtrack too. Um so but a lot of times it was racing games. In other games like we were just talking about, like if it was a Picross game, doesn't require me to pay attention too much. I would probably play songs in the background that are just kind of like probably video game music. I really like lo-fi music too, so and I have a lot of video game lo-fi music. And then there was one, I forget his name right now, Sam Dillard, I want to say. He did a Metroid soundtrack, did a Metroid, what do you want to call it? It wasn't a soundtrack, but it was like a tribute album
Mm-hmm.
that was really, really
Kind of like
good.
covering the songs.
Yeah, it's like covering, and I think even the composer who did the original songs helped out in a certain manner. because he gives credit to him at certain points.
Yeah.
So,
which reminds me of like on I think two occasions I streamed Zelda 2, and then I got copyright notice of that I'm playing a cover of his work. I'm like, no. Just because you did a cover of a original doesn't make my original your cover.
right.
Go F yourself.
Alrighty then. That's funny. But yeah, those music has gotten a lot better in the games, or maybe it's just my taste have kind of picked up on just playing the music that's in the games. But certain instances, yes, I will have a playlist or songs playing in the background. So hopefully Jesse's and mine helped answer that question.
Mecha Dragon asks what I meant by we getting rid of MP3 support. Yeah, since I think Sony owns the MP3 patent. So something like, I don't know if the numbers are right, but basically every device that can support an MP3, $1 gets sent to Sony. Sell 100 million Wii's, that's $100 million going that way. So somewhere around, I think, late 2007, maybe early 2008, maybe it was even earlier than that, they patched out the ability to play MP3s, so they didn't have to pay that dollar anymore.
Right. Yeah. Especially being Sony.
Yep.
All right. Ebisel asks, for me, when am I going to warm up that Jack Stacks? And I mentioned it earlier. I'll probably be doing it this weekend. So hopefully you got that answer there. And then the last couple questions come from Mikey Burgett. What is your preference when it comes to knowing about a game prior to release? Do you want to know as much as possible? Is there a point when you turn off reading articles and watching videos? Again, it depends on the game. Like Metroid Dread, I know we brought this up before. Some people felt like Nintendo gave a lot away initially in the marketing and everything they were doing in there. I ate it all up, and they did not give everything away. So that would be an example of what I would eat it up. But there's other things like Sea of Stars. I didn't want to know too much about that. I just wanted to, I knew it was a game I wanted to play, and I left it at that. I didn't go digging for more information on that.
Yeah, it depends on the game, but most of the time I don't want to know as much as possible. I just, want the minimum. So like when they talked about Zelda, we thought they were sharing way too much, but then we found out, oh no, they were only sharing stuff from the first 45 minutes of a 170-hour game.
Right.
So, but at the time they seemed like it was sharing a lot because there was a lot to the game.
Yes.
Yeah. Like just like with Mario Wonder, I don't want to know anymore. You've given us the trailer, you've given us a 12-minute more deep dive. Stop. I don't want to know anymore, and let me play it in a month.
Yep. So again, always comes down to what game it is and what our interest in on it. So hopefully that answers that question. So great questions as usual from our community. Thank you so much. If you want to leave a question for us at any time, you can leave it in our Discord or on our Patreon or even through Twitter when we post that we're going to be having a show soon. You can always send us your questions there. But most of the time they come through our Discord channels because we have a page set up for that. And that helps it make it easier for us to find them all in one place. With that, is there anything else, Jesse, before we close out the show that you have?
There was some MP3 talk in the chat. I was trying to look to see if, I don't know if Sony really had the patent, but someone had the patent. Okay. But it looks like that because they were asking about iPhones because they sell a billion iPhones. But looks like the patent expired in 2017. So I think MP3 is now considered an open format. Anyone can use it for free. If I understand.
Sony made their money. It's done.
I am not a lawyer. Don't listen to a word I say. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It sounded good to me, so I'll go with it. So
Sure.
again, thanks for everybody who stopped by, and thanks for all your questions, and thanks for Quag for saying these beards are powered by Manscaped. So we'll go with that. All right. First, a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger and Jacqueline Amira, and our other 90 plus Patreons. Next, a special thank you to our 18 Twitch subscribers and over 1,419 Twitch followers. And a shout out to our 6,987 YouTube subscribers. We're so close to 7,000 subscribers. You got to tell your friends about us. We want to get to 10,000 next month.
10,000?
I still want 10,000 by the end of the year. Do you think it can happen? I don't know. That would be awesome. Like,
no, I think all these shorts are helping.
Yes,
that we've been pushing out.
Yes, and shout out to Casey for helping us out there. He's been doing an awesome job at getting those shorts out. So thank you, everyone. We would not be here if it weren't for you. And we wouldn't be able to do all the wonderful things that we do in our community if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much. Check out our website, nintendodads.org, for Spotify podcast feeds on our show, as well as other Nintendo Dads family of podcast shows, such as Game Pass News, Dads After Dark Show, and the Retro Logic family of podcasts featuring Retro Logic, On Topic Retro, Retro Groove, and Film Logic. Our latest YouTube videos and tweets are there, links to all our social media, Patreon and Extra Life pages, and Nintendo Dads merch. Again, you can get to our merch by going to nintendodads.org/merch. And you can get one of our new mushroom mascot images on stickers, hoodies, whatever. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, manscaped.com. Get 20% off your Manscaped order with free shipping with code NINDADS, NINDADS. You can contact us in most places by typing Nintendo Dads. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. Or you can call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show. Download from your favorite podcast app of choice, and please leave us a 5-star review and a comment. We would love to see that kind of stuff. And if we see a really good comment, we haven't read any comments in a long time. Maybe we should start doing that again. If we see a really good one, who knows what can happen. Justin always makes up some new stuff saying, hey, I like your comment. Here's $20 eShop credit. Who knows? We'll see. Let's see what happens. For me, for Jesse, for Justin and Marty, we are the Nintendo Dads, and we'll check you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening into Nintendo Dads.
We sound like the goddamn Nintendo Dads all of a sudden.
Maple syrup mousses.